WATD presents John Paul, the Car Doctor. All things automotive. Have questions? Call 781-837-4900. Now, here's John Paul, the Car Doctor.
Oh my. Sounds like we've lost connection with John, which means we're starting off extra hot. So we'll wait for him to come back. In the meantime, I am Jesse Wilkins, and I will bring in the guest because I don't know what to do here without John. John, whenever you connect, you let me know. Hello to John, the guest. Hello. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Well, it's your show now, my friend, because we lost John. So good luck.
Thank you. Hi, I'm a friend of John Paul's. I have my own radio show with my brother down here in Rhode Island, and we've been doing it for 35 years. Can I say the radio station call it is?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, it's on WPRV live Saturday morning and replayed on WPRO, of course, on not on tape, but on whatever we want to call those things nowadays. And so 35 years, I've known John Paul about that long, too. We're both members of NEMPA, New England Motor Press Association. And most of my life, I've either been turning wrenches or teaching kids how to turn wrenches, or adults, too, actually. I've done that as well. So, and every week, my brother and I we would answer questions about, repair, which was it happened a lot more before COVID because now there's more of a skeleton crew. We don't have a producer to answer the phone. My brother answers the phone and talks. He's in one room, I'm in the other rom. And
it sounds like he's the producer now, huh?
Yeah, he is. And he also does anchors the news Monday through Friday on WPRO from 1 to 7 or whatever the time is that he's there for. So he does know how to operate the board and all of that stuff myself. I've never sat behind it. I have no idea how to do it.
Well, lucky for us, we have John on the line. Hello, John.
Right. Lucky for me, you mean. Hey, John Paul, where are you?
Oh, my goodness. Something's going on with the connection here. All right. Well, back to you.
Back to me. All right. And then, like John has been doing for quite a long time, we do test drive cars weekly, and we've been doing that just as long as we've been on the radio. And this week, I road tested a 22 Chevrolet Bolt EUV Premier, and it's the second Bolt I've had this year. I had the smaller Bolt, which is not that much smaller, and now the larger one.
Hello.
Hello, John Paul there? Yeah.
I think I'm here, but
look at that,
sounds
right
like
on time.
It to me.
Are we working or not?
Oh yeah, you're on.
Yes, we are.
We're on.
We're on.
We're connected together.
Yeah,
okay.
I can hear you, John. Can you hear me?
I could hear everything right up till nobody could hear me for whatever reason. So I'm not quite sure what's going on, and I have levels in both directions, so everything seemed to be fine. But is everything working okay, Jesse?
Yeah, we are good, and we are live, baby.
All right, good to go. So
it was secretly working the whole time. I just wanted to sabotage the show and take over, see if I had what it took.
I'd like to welcome John Paul to John Paul's show.
Yeah, thanks. This is and I think it was because I insulted Jesse from the beginning.
That's how it starts.
Because I said to him, it appears as if the radio stations haven't set their clocks back yet, because you said it was 12:03 rather than 11:03.
Did I do that again? That's the second time today. Yep.
Yeah. So
right.
I think it started there, and I didn't even make fun of the weather forecast. So I don't know what happened.
When I said it was going to be unreasonably warm, it's
unreasonably warm.
It's been a disaster here all day.
Unreasonably, unseasonably, So with us is John Zangari. Good thing he introduced himself and introduced the whole program. So, like I said, I've known John and his brother Paul for forever. I have guested on their show, filling in for either one of them, which was always kind of fun because it's Paul Zangari and John Zangari, and of course my name's John Paul. all. So it was easy. It was easy to figure that out. So it all worked out. It all worked out good. So
Yeah.
yeah, and it was you started to say, at one point you have had a pretty varied career, everything from teaching kids how to fix everything from small engines to cars to you were a technical trainer at Toyota, right?
I was over here in down there. For your listeners, down there in Mansfield,
or up there in Mansfield, depending on where where you are exactly. But yeah, in Mansfield, at Toyota of New England. Which is kind of a misnomer because it's Toyota of New England except Connecticut, as I recall.
That is correct. Actually, it's the Boston region.
Yeah. So
There's the New England Toyota dealers, though, that are aligned with the Boston region. So when they have their New England Toyota dealer, what do you call it, sales and stuff like that, and then there's a little fine print probably says not in Connecticut.
Something like that. You're right. So,
yeah.
But you've had a like I said, a pretty varied career, and one of the things I think that makes what you do sort of interesting, like what I do, and when you guys are explaining things to people, I think part of having that educational background where you don't just give the answer, but you give the reason why there's an answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, well, there's got to be a reason for that answer.
Yeah, but sometimes in a lot of cases, somebody says, my shoulder hurts, and it's automatic. Well, your rotator cuff's bad. Well, why did that happen? And kind of the same thing with cars. People want to know why the car doesn't run right or the car doesn't stop right. And I think the idea of explaining it to kids and giving them the background. Makes it good when you have to explain it to adults sometimes that maybe know less about the cars than the kids did.
Well, yeah, especially a lot of adults are very much not interested in how cars work until they don't. And, of course, the kids that I would have in school were the kids that were interested in how cars work because they wanted to work on them. So their level of interest at that young age was a lot higher. You only care about that rotator cuff now that it hurts. You didn't care about it before.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And the idea too that I keep seeing that young people are not that interested in the automotive industry anymore. But when I go to a Votech school and I'm on, I think, 4 or 5 Votech boards these days, and the auto shops are filled with kids, and they're at maximum capacity these days. I think there is a subset of kids that still really have an interest in repairing cars or fixing plumbing or wiring a house or whatever it is. I think the trades are, in the past 4 or 5 years, have come back pretty strong.
I agree with that. I think they have as well. I know that when I worked for Toyota, and that was in the 80s, that there was, late 80s, there was a problem, it seemed, getting technicians. And so they started the Toyota Technical Training Program to get kids interested and to build up programs in Votech, high school Votech schools. And that's where they started with that, and then they aligned also with some community colleges as well.
Right. Yeah, Mass Bay Community College up in Massachusetts is their automotive program is, I think now it's Toyota, Chrysler, and maybe one other manufacturer.
Ford, maybe.
Yeah, and what's kind of interesting is somebody who you maybe worked with years ago, Howie Ferris, who started the program at Mass Bay because he ran the Toyota program, is seemingly back at Mass Bay these days. They did a worldwide search of a new automotive director and apparently went back to him. So
really,
yeah.
Right.
So even though he had retired, apparently he came back these days. So he's back up there. So a little bit of that. You started to talk about an electric car that you drove, a version of the Chevy Bolt called a Bolt. I think it's EUV.
Yes.
Yeah, which is sort of a smaller, which is a sort of an SUV sort of thing, I guess.
Don't say that. It's not even CUV size.
Yeah.
Okay.
And is it actually less storage in it than a Bolt?
There less what?
Less actual storage inside of it than a Bolt?
No, it's larger. It's a larger car.
Okay.
It has a larger price, and it has the same engine. And if you want, I could go through a whole big road test on this.
Does it have Does it have an engine?
No, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. It has a motor.
It has a
motor. Yes, and I know the difference too.
Yeah. I don't know the difference. I only know how to correct people when they say it wrong. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you know why that rotator cuff went bad, don't you?
I do.
The power plant in the Bolt EUV is exactly the same. The car weighs more, so it isn't quite as fast as the smaller one. But if you look at one, and then maybe a half an hour later see another one somewhere else, you might not notice the difference. So it's not really big, and if somebody wants to call it an SUV, it really doesn't have the U to it. It's really not a lot of utility because of its size. It's not that big.
One important question from a exactly. One important question from a AAA standpoint: does it have a spare tire?
It does not.
Yeah.
If it did, I couldn't find it.
Yeah. So, and that's always something. That seems to be, people say to us at AAA, why, how often do you tow electric cars, and why do you tow them? Are people running out of electricity? No, they're running out of tires. They get a flat tire and they go, there's no spare tire in this thing, and a lot of them have to be flatbed towed, so they have to be on a ramp truck to come back to wherever it's going to go, because a lot of these, especially the Tesla models, are all-wheel drive, and they can't be towed in conventional ways. So the idea of a lack of a spare tire has always been a bit of an issue for me.
Yeah, I understand, and I've been on the road and gotten flat tires before, and as much as I don't like mini spares, I was certainly happy to have it.
Yeah. Even though you're right, even though you look and there's this spare tire that's half the size of the car, the tires that are on the car. The idea that you can jack up the car, put it on, and drive away is a whole lot better than the alternative of scratching your head and going, now what?
Well, one of the big problems in it, and the automotive manufacturers don't seem that this just does not register with them. You're driving down the highway at 65, 70 miles an hour. You get a flat tire. Now, you just can't stop the car immediately. You have to maneuver to pull over to the side of the road, get in the breakdown line. By that time, your tire has disintegrated, and you just hope that you didn't ruin the rim. Now, you go get that can of goo, and you might as well just spray it on the cars going down the highway, because it certainly is not going to stay inside of that, what's left of your road tire.
Right.
That thing that's worn out completely.
Yeah, and I'm embarrassed to say this a little bit, because I'm a big believer in, if you're going to repair, if the tire is repairable, you should repair it properly. You should use a patch and plug combination where the hole gets filled in, it gets patched on the inside. But on the other hand, in case of emergencies, I have a plug kit in both our family cars, just in case there's something pretty obvious, and I can stick a plug in there and hook up my little battery air compressor and air up the tire, and I'm good to go. Yeah,
I used to do that when I didn't have as new tires on as new a car as I have now, and I used to do that. And the biggest problem with that was I used to throw away glue a lot, because I would never use it, and so the glue would go bad. So I did do that. At one time I was so confident in the car I owned, I kept the bicycle in the trunk.
Yeah, I owned it. I owned an MGB that I kept a tow cable.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, because it was a typical MG that you met a lot of people by the side of the road.
True. Yeah. I
got pretty good at the fuel pump was kind of located in a weird spot, and you could take the little hammer that you would use to take the knockoff hubs off, and you could just reach under there and whack the fuel pump and get it to start back up again, and then it would work perfect again.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but just in case, I always kept a tow cable because there are some times that just things didn't work the way they should. So
you hit the fuel pump too hard.
Yeah, well, there's that. Yeah. But it's sort of like they were almost set up for towing. They had hooks in them, and
they knew.
Yeah, they sort of knew. It was that. But the idea, in fact, I have a neighbor here, and she had a low tire, and I went over and pumped up her tire the other night, and I came out the next morning, it was flat, and I said to her, "Oh, Linda, I guess you do have something going on in that tire because it's flat now." And she looked and she went, "Oh crap, I didn't even see it." And sure enough, I just rolled the car back a little bit, and there was a screw stuck in the tire. So I said, "Well, this isn't a plug is kind of a temporary repair, but let's get a plug in it so at least you can manage to get the car to where you want to go." And where I am currently in Florida, there are 3 tire stores plus a Walmart, and the only one that's open is the Walmart because the other 3 got so much damage from the hurricane they haven't been able to reopen. Yeah.
Oh, so I guess that temporary repair that you did on her tire might be a little more, a lot long temporary because maybe she can't even get her car into Walmart.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll be busy.
Yeah, they're extremely busy. In fact, there's a body shop. The car that we keep down here got about $2,000 worth of damage from stuff flying at it and falling on it, and it was at a carport that I'm not sure where the carport is. It's not here.
It's like not even in the neighborhood anyway.
Well, it might be. There is something that looks like a carport or a shed up a tree about 100 yards away from me. Literally up a tree, up about 25 or 30 feet in a tree.
How do you get that down?
When the wind blows in the other direction, but
cut the tree, I guess.
Yeah, but it is. So I went to a body shop around the corner from where I live here, and I went in and I said to them, "Here's the, what do you think about how much damage?" And I had buffed up the car and cleaned it because it had a car cover on it, and if you've ever seen anybody who was kind of foolish enough to put a car cover on a motorcycle, they were trailering a great distance. The car cover. Banging on the paint of the motorcycle at 70 miles an hour ends up damaging the paint. Well, a car cover that's in 115 or 120 mile an hour wind, until it finally deteriorates, it's gonna bang on the paint. So there was some damage because of that, but I was able to buff a lot of it out, and I brought it up to the body shop, and their phone was ringing nonstop. And I said, "Oh, geez, you guys are busy." And they said, "Well, you got to understand, within generally about a 10-mile radius of here, there's 5 or 6 body shops, and we're the only one open right now because we only lost a big garage door, and we park a big trailer in front of it at night for security purposes and to keep the door, keep people out. And other than that, we're able to function, which is not the case of a lot of businesses down here. So,
it's going to be rough recuperating from that storm for a couple of years at least.
I would think so. It's there is a lot of there's tons and tons of debris. Our little neighborhood. It is just piles of stuff out in front of people's houses. I have a bunch of insulation and some metal out in front of the house and some wood that I had to take up a ceiling and a floor to deal with. And but there are literally whole houses that have been bulldozed, into a pile because they didn't make it. And the waterways are also filled with, metal and house parts and boat pieces and car parts and things like that, because the county is going around and they're trying to They're trying to fish as much of that stuff out of the water as they can because, Florida, among other things, is a big tourist area, and you need to have a lot of people come to Florida to fish, and you can't fish if there's stuff floating in the water or stuff you can't see.
That doesn't swim.
That doesn't swim. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So. Yeah, so the Chevy EUV, back to that, we kind of went way off track there for a bit. You said it's a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier than the Chevy Bolt. The Bolt had I thought the Bolt was functionally a very good car. It had good range, good comfort. It might have not been the prettiest looking car on the planet, but I thought
the look isn't awful. It looks fine for what it is.
Yeah.
You want a Corvette-looking car? Well, don't buy this.
Don't buy that, yeah. But as far as functionality, I thought it worked pretty good. And I only have the ability to charge up with 110 volts. And I found that unless I drove it 200 miles in one day, my normal day-to-day driving, I could just plug it in and charge it up, and it would add 60 or 70 miles overnight, and it would bring it back to more than full.
Well, 12 hours worth of charging, the overnight approximation, does a pretty good job of taking up filling up what my daily routine would be normally, unless I, went on an extended drive for some reason, like test driving a car kind of thing. But with the Chevy Bolt, you can adjust the amount of charge that it will do on 120, and I don't know on 240 because I don't have that ability unless I went to some place, and that's all public charging stations, which I believe is all automatic anyway. But I could do I think it was 12. I could do 12 kilowatt hours. So what would happen would be that. Or I could do like 8 or something like that. Yeah. Because I was on a 20 amp circuit, I could do the 12 very easily. 15 amp circuit, there may be it may be popping the circuit because it's going to heat up.
Right.
And so that didn't make a difference. But anybody who buys an electric car really should get a 240 setup. Now, speaking of 240 setup, the EV, I always get these initials wrong. The charging, so I'll say charging cord. The charging cord that comes with the Bolt has a removable 120 pigtail and a removable 240 pigtail. So you don't have to go out and pay another $600 or whatever it is. You can buy cheap ones as well. A 240 charging station, all you have to do is pay for the wiring and the circuit breakers and the outlet in your garage or wherever it is you want the power to be, so you can charge up your Chevy Bolt. And some car manufacturers, you get a 120. And if you want to do 240, you got to go buy something else.
Yeah, I kind of like that, and this is just a weird function of where I happen to be right now. But the house next door to me had a utility shed with a washer and dryer in it, and because of the hurricane, the utility shed is gone, and the washer and dryer is. Kind of moved around a little bit, but there's a 240 volt outlet right there. So if I had that vehicle and that cord, I could pull up next to where the door used to be on the shed, and I could plug in and charge up on 240 volts. And I think for a lot of people that have garages that maybe have washer and dryers in the garages or something like that.
In Florida, they do.
Yeah.
That's common.
Yeah, so that's one of those things that I think we can think of. Before we let you go, are you tired of electric vehicles yet? Are you tired of reading about them? Are you tired of hearing about them?
No, not really.
No?
And what I'm tired about is people talking about the tomorrow we're going to have autonomous automobiles and are going to drive, and they don't need to learn how to drive, and it's going to do everything that a person can do, which it can't and won't.
It can't, and I think the different levels of vehicle autonomy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mercedes is coming out with level 3 vehicle autonomy this year, which means that the vehicle can drive itself till it can't. And I mean, there are times that I like to drive, and there are times that I don't like to drive. I had about a month and a half ago, I had to drive up to Somerville, and I was stuck in typical Boston morning traffic for like 45 minutes or an hour, and there was no reason for it. It was just volume of traffic. Perfect time to have an autonomous vehicle. I could sit there, or I could, read the paper, or I could do something. But the idea that the car's going to drive itself till the box falls off the truck in front of me, and then I have to jump in and take over. I want to be able to zone out when the vehicle's driving itself. I don't want to. I don't want to have to be posed over the steering wheel, getting ready to jump in and take over. That's no fun.
Well, the Chevy Bolt that I test drove this week has Chevy Super Cruise in it, and I tried using it, and I got it to work eventually. But in some places, it said cannot engage, not on mapped road.
Yeah,
I was on a highway.
Well.
And so
they haven't been there yet.
I don't know why, but that's the point about it's now nowhere near being ready.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think 10. It was probably close to 10 years ago that the New England Motor Press Association, we had our MIT event and technology event, and we were talking about self-driving cars 10 years ago, and we were thinking that, well, self-driving cars, maybe we'll see them in 15 or 20 years. I think as that 10 years has gone by, we've kind of said there's going to be features to vehicles that will allow them to do certain things, but none of these features take the place of a fully engaged driver.
Well, the Tesla autopilot is being investigated for more accidents and more accidents. They seem to not be able to drive themselves in all situations.
Yeah, I think one of them ran into a fire truck. How it miscalculated a fire truck for something. I don't really know, but I guess it did. So,
as an open space, you mean?
Yeah. I guess so. So,
I got to get back to your to a question about sick of electric cars, and one of the reasons that I'm not sick of them is because they do have fantastic performance. The Chevy Bolt doesn't have real fantastic performance, but what little 4-cylinder car or 3-cylinder car would have this performance as good as the Bolt?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you look at something, take something that was equivalent to maybe the Chevy Bolt, like a Chevy Sonic, or maybe a Spark, which is a little bit smaller. They had pretty poor performance, and compared to the Bolt had sort of, I don't know. You could probably say it had performance similar to a 6-cylinder Mustang or Camaro from not that many years ago, or maybe even the kind of oversmogged Fox body Mustangs that didn't have great performance from 0 to 40, where the Bolt has good performance. So,
well, yeah. I'm sure it could outperform a 350 Chevrolet with 155 horsepower. From when was that they were so choked off with emission controls?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Hey, John, I want to thank you for joining us on the program. I want to thank you for hosting it for the first 5 minutes. I don't know what happened, but
you're welcome.
But that was good. And your program again is on Saturday mornings at between 8 and 9 on 790 AM. And then it appears again on Sunday nights on WPRO?
Saturday night.
Saturday night on WPRO.
Yep.
What time?
8 to 9.
Yeah. So
8 to 9, and they both live stream at the time that they're on.
There you go. Hey, thanks for filling in for me.
You're welcome.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
That was John Zangari. He is one half of Drive Through Radio. Drive Through Radio is automotive radio program that's been on the air longer than I have. I've been on the air for nearly 30 years. They've been on the air, I think, for 35 years. They're actually on the air longer than those other Italian brothers that you've heard of, Tom and Ray Magliozzi, who I don't think were quite on the air for that long a period of time. So, been around for a long time. Hey, we need to take a break. We're way overdue. My name's John Paul. This is the Car Doctor program. Thanks to Jesse for keeping us on the air, I guess.
For messing up your show.
Whatever you were doing up there. But thanks for doing that. And we'll take a break. My name's John Paul. This is the Car Doctor program. If you want to give us a call. And we are live, obviously, because no one would record that mess. So we are live. So give us a call at 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. And like all things in radio, no one died. It's all good. Move on. Let's take some calls. 781-837-4900. You listen to the Car Doctor program on 95.9 WATD, the South Shore's radio station.
AAA is with you at every moment in your life. They have 24/7 roadside assistance, which covers you in any car you're driving or riding in, even a rental or your friend's wheels. They have great member rates on home and auto insurance, savings on travel, hotels and car rentals, and discounts on hundreds of your favorite brands. You're covered, on and off the road. Learn more at aaa.com/join.
Don't miss one of our nation's best traditions, America's hometown Thanksgiving celebration in Plymouth. This nationally ranked Thanksgiving celebration kicks off on Friday night, November 18th at 7 with the Plymouth Philharmonic Orchestra. Saturday morning, the Thanksgiving Parade's opening ceremony begins at 9:30 at Plymouth Rock. At 10, that's where the parade begins. It features historically accurate, chronologically displayed floats, nationally recognized drum and bugle corps, reenactment units from every period of American history, and military marching units. Also on Saturday, enjoy waterfront activities for the family, the Portal to the Past, Reenactment Village, a beer and wine garden, and the Children's Pavilion. Grab a bite to eat along Food Truck Alley. Saturday evening brings America's best drum and bugle corps reunion concert at Memorial Hall. Free shuttles from the Kingston MBTA every 15 minutes Saturday. Don't miss the annual Harvest Market on the waterfront on Sunday. America's hometown Thanksgiving celebration, November 18th through the 20th on the Plymouth waterfront. Visit usathanksgiving.com for more information.
Well, hey there. It's Chris from South Shore Buds in Marshfield. I don't know about you, but I grew up pretty skeptical of anything cannabis related. From the time I drank juice in a box to long after I drank wine from a box, I stayed away. I just said no. It wasn't until I met someone who answered all of my questions, and I had a lot of them, that I finally gave it a try. It didn't take long for me not just to become a fan, but to discover the potential benefits of cannabis. So, if you're curious, if you've got questions, like I did, stop by South Shore Buds. Or, if you're an experienced consumer looking for a thoughtfully curated menu, stop by South Shore Buds. We'll help you find your happy place. We're at 985 Plain Street, just off Route 3 at Exit 27 in Marshfield. Or check us out online, where you can browse, place an order for pickup, or place an order for delivery at southshorebuds.com. That's southshorebuds.com. Always consume responsibly.
Don't miss the Just Steph Show every Monday night from 8 to 10 p.m. for fun guests and tips on living your best life every day. I'm bringing sexy back to Monday nights.
Tomorrow night from 8 to 10 on 95.9 WATD. Make an appointment Sunday morning at 11 for John Paul, the Car Doctor, on 95.9 WATD. Now, back to the Car Doctor.
And welcome back to the Car Doctor program on 95.9 WATD. Our phone number is 781-837-4900. It's a beautiful day in the South Shore. What did you call it? Ridiculously... What was the terminology used for the weather there, Jesse?
Unreasonably warm today.
Unreasonably warm, yeah. So, beautiful day. So hopefully you're out doing some nice things outside. Maybe you have the radio on in the car. Well, this would be a perfect day to give the car a good wash and wax, get it all looking good. Because, I can't predict much. Obviously, if I could, I'd be picking the $1.9 billion lottery pick or whatever is coming up. But I know that it is eventually going to get cold. It's eventually going to get snowy. It's eventually going to be salt and junk on the roads. And first off, salt's no good for your car. All that sand that kicks up's no good for your car. And if you can get an extra coat of wax on it, that's going to help. And this is a good time to go around, give the car a really good wash, depending on how fussy you want to get with getting the paint finish back. The term that kind of came up in the past 10 years called paint correction, where you actually really spend crazy amounts of time cleaning the paint up on the car, going over it with a clay bar, for instance, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is a chunk of clay that literally pulls all of the dirt and debris off the car, and you go over the car with that, and then you go over it again. And once you finally get the car really, really clean, then you wax and polish, and get the wax sort of restores the paint, and the polish kind of protects it. Most people just use a liquid wax that kind of does all of that all at one time, but that helps keep the junk from sticking to the car. Also, it's a good excuse when you're really spending some time washing the car to find those little nicks and scratches in the car. Get a bottle of touch-up paint, touch it up. If there is a little bit of rust, sand the rust, a little dab of primer, a little dab of touch-up on there is going to really help prevent that from getting worse. One of the guests that we've had on this program in the past is a company called Automotive Touch-Up. They are a company they're a smaller company. They sell factory paint in spray cans. So if you have a factory color and you're having trouble matching it, they can sell it to you in a nail polish size bottle, or they can sell you a gallon of it, depending on what you want to do with it. And the old Volkswagen that we keep up in Massachusetts, that's an 09. I bought it used, really used. It was supposed to last a year. That was its only plan, was to last a year. And it did have some rust on it, and kind of knocked the rust off of it, filled it, primed it, painted it. And how do you match paint on an 09 car? Well, I called Automotive Touch-Up, ordered a can of paint. I think it was $20, and it matched really nice, and especially it was on the rockers where a lot of those old Volkswagens rust away, and so it's sort of outside your normal line of sight. So even if the color was off a little bit, you didn't know. And what's also nice about it is if you have a car, say you have a custom car, so a hot rod, maybe something you've done a custom paint job to, and you used a different color paint than maybe what was there in the factory. So say you have a 65 Ford Mustang, and you didn't really want to use the factory red that was popular in 65. I think it was called Signal Flare Red. But you want to use a little different color, and you really found a Corvette color you liked, or a Chrysler color that you liked, and you got enough so you could paint the car. And then a year later, you get a little nick or a little scratch in it. What do? Well, you go to a place like Automotive Touch-Up, and you can order a spray can of paint, and you get the same color. So you don't have to worry about that, that color that was maybe sort of not designed for that car, but able to do it. So a nice day like today, get out there, try to wash and wax the car, get it good and clean. And depending on how dirty it is, I've become a fan of waterless car wash. You need a lot of microfiber cloths, and as long as the car isn't really too dirty, so it might not be a product you want to use if you've driven down a gravel road where the dirt and stuff sticks to it. But if it's just dust and light dirt on the car, you spray the stuff on, and Meguiar's makes a good product, and Griot, which I have pronounced Groits for the longest time, I think it's Griot, they make a waterless car wash product, and you spray it on, it literally lifts the dirt off, and you wipe it off with a clean microfiber cloth, and then you go over it with another one, and that kind of gives it a little bit of a shine back. And I've been using that sort of in between car washes to get the car to look good again. You have to be a little bit careful, because on a day, especially if you have a dark color car, on a hot day, that paint's going to get kind of hot, and because it does have a little bit of wax in it, it can haze over a little bit. So on a car that's been parked in the shade, the Wados Car Wash, if it is a car that you take to car shows and things like that, a quick little 5 or 10 minutes over the car, makes it look all nice and clean and shiny, just like you detailed it, and it does a really nice job, and it's another way that can help protect your car. So the other trick sometimes, you've found out that it's now your body might be telling you it's 12:43, but the clock is telling you it's 11:43, and the clock in your car, maybe it's accurate because you never changed it when we changed the time in the spring. But if you want to change it, some of them are pretty complicated to change. Others use, if your car has GPS in it, it uses the GPS to set the time, so you don't have to do anything. But in some cases, you really have to go into a multiple set of menus to find out how to change the time in the car. My 2 family cars that are here are pretty simple to change, although the Volkswagen that's here is a little bit complicated. It takes a couple little extra steps. You have to hold one thing while you do something else to get the numbers to change, where the Hyundai that's here, it's pretty simple. It's just a couple buttons and it's easy enough to change. But some are more complicated. Some you have to go into sub-menus to find the clock, a little bit of a pain to do, and that's where sometimes you really have to revert to the owner's manual to be able to look through and see what's wrong, see how to set those little things. So, a few things to think about. Our phone number is 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. This is kind of an interesting story. An armed robbery of a U.S. postal carrier helped police begin to unravel a crime ring that has stolen numerous muscle cars and other expensive vehicles from auto plants and dealerships in the Detroit area. When officers caught the man suspected of robbing the postal worker outside of Cleveland, they found 3 high-priced stolen vehicles at his home: a Ram 1500 TRX, a Land Rover Range Rover, and a Dodge with the Hellcat engine. This led to federal indictments in June against 4 Ohio men on charges of conspiracy and interstate transport of stolen vehicles. One of the men told the FBI that he and another defendant communicated through Instagram with people in the Detroit area about obtaining stolen vehicles. Prosecutors then said the thieves also sold the vehicles, originally worth $50,000 to $100,000, for $3,500 to $15,000 to buyers in Chicago, Indianapolis, and other near East Coast shipping points. So, do you think anyone was a little suspicious when someone said, "Hey, I got this Range Rover that's worth $100,000, and I'll sell it to you for $15,000"? Do you think something's wrong? Investigators say that the thieves started the vehicles using handheld electronic pro pads. Many of the Dodge Chargers and Challengers and Hellcats, the fast ones, said Sergeant Jerry Hanna with the Macomb Auto Theft Squad, Michigan. If a patrol car gets them, they're not stopping, and they're faster than the patrol cars. They'll go 150 miles an hour all day. Thieves have hit several Ford plants in Michigan, stealing F-150 Raptors and Mustangs. At suburban Detroit dealerships last year, thieves crashed a Ram through a glass wall, then drove other cars in the showroom out through the same hole. Police found a Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat taken after the driver smashed into a brick wall trying to get away. 3 other vehicles were later recovered. So now it begs the question, what is an electronic pro pad?
And how do we get one?
Yeah, and how do we get one? Exactly.
We have Paul from Somerville in line.
All right. Well, let's, maybe Paul knows. Paul, good morning.
Morning, John. How you doing?
Good. Do you have any idea what a pro pad is and how you use that to steal a car?
No idea.
Good.
I haven't been in that business. I've been on the other side.
I know. You've been on the other side of that business. So, but it's interesting. The other big story this week about theft was a big catalytic converter theft ring got busted out in New Jersey, and I guess they had ties all over the United States, and the state rep from down in the Bristol County area, Steve Howard, filed a bill in Massachusetts to try to cut down on catalytic converter theft, and he hinted around that catalytic converter theft was an underworld kind of gang-related thing. And based on the story, I think he was right.
There's a good possibility that's connected. The big problem is that it's something that happens overnight when there's not too many people watching other than cameras, and it's a theft that only takes a minute or less with the Sawzall. Very easy theft, and it's a high value item.
Absolutely.
That's why I called you.
I didn't think so.
I got a question for you. You were talking about the autonomous vehicles and the number of crashes into the fire engine. There's been a lot of police cruisers that have been crashed into by Teslas, and I'm not sure about other vehicles, but people on autopilot. But in the last few years, fire apparatus and ambulances have been required to have reflective chevrons on the back of their vehicles, and most police cars are following suit, and they have reflective chevrons across the back. I'm just wondering if AAA or anybody, I haven't read of anyone who's done a study to see if those chevrons, which are pointed toward the middle,
right,
are falsely triggering something in dimly lit or unlit roadways when the headlights reflect on them to cause the vehicle to go directly into that direction.
You might be onto something, because I saw a video of an autonomous vehicle, and it was being tested in all places down in New Bedford, and it was doing really well. It was out driving around, and it was doing really well. And what happened? It was following of all things a fish truck, and the door of the fish truck opened up, and a ton of ice fell out of the back of the truck. And the autonomous vehicle didn't know what to do, because the sunlight reflecting on the sparkly ice just confused it. So you might be on something.
I was thinking more of the fact that when you see a lot of the traffic speed tables and speed bumps, very often there are chevrons prior to that. That kind of to go right over them.
You've given me homework to do now, Paul.
Well, I haven't read it anywhere. I do try to keep up on that stuff, but I haven't seen anyone testing it. But it just seems to me that could be an indirect cause.
I'm going to start to do a little bit of research now.
Oh, that's good.
All right, Paul. Hey, thanks for the call, and be well, and talk again soon. Take care. We need to take another break. Pay some bills. My name's John Paul. This is the Car Doctor program. You're listening on 95.9 WATD. If you would like to join us, the phone number is simple enough. It is 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. We'll be right back.
AAA is with you at every moment in your life. They have 24/7 roadside assistance, which covers you in any car you're driving or riding in, even a rental or your friend's wheels. They have great member rates on home and auto insurance, savings on travel, hotels and car rentals, and discounts on hundreds of your favorite brands. You're covered, on and off the road. Learn more at aaa.com/join.
It happens all over Massachusetts. In every home and every community.
Be careful on your bike.
Learning can happen anytime, anywhere.
Practice this weekend.
And no matter how learning takes place in your family's life, Jesse is there as your partner. The Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Never stop learning. Find out more at mass.gov/back-to-school.
Sponsored by the Massachusetts Department for Elementary and Secondary Education.
Wouldn't you just love new kitchen cabinets without the high cost, the mess, and the inconvenience? Hi, I'm Sheldon Stewart of Stewart Painting. And I know how scary the thought of a demoed kitchen for months can be. So I have a solution. Let our cabinet refinishing team restore the beauty to your kitchen cabinets. Our professionals will apply a sprayed finish that costs less and will be done in days. We paint hundreds of kitchen cabinets every year, and we would love to add yours to our list. Call Stewart Painting today at either our Hingham or Hyannis offices to schedule your free estimate. Or, to receive a virtual quote, go to stewartpaint.com. Choose Get a Virtual Quote Now, create a video of your project, Send it to our sales team and receive a price within 24 hours. So remember, Stewart Painting. Expect the best.
Talk radio with a South Shore point of view. Hi, I'm Kevin Chachi. Join me tomorrow for Monday Night Talk, where the South Shore comes to talk. Tomorrow night after the 6 o'clock news here on 95.9 WATD.
Make an appointment Sunday morning at 11 for John Paul, the Car Doctor, on 95.9 WATD. Now, back to the Car Doctor.
And welcome back to the Car Doctor program. Jesse, you're a golfer?
No.
No, me neither. But a golfer is suing an Arkansas Ford dealership that he said owes him a free F-150 for making a hole-in-one. Adam Cleggett posed for photos holding his ball in front of the $53,000 pickup truck after his hole-in-one October 8th at some country club. But J. Hodge Ford of Morlanton said it had never agreed to give the truck away in the tournament of the century. The country club had specifically advertised it as a prize in a Facebook post tagging the dealership. Hole-in-one on hole 10 gets you the keys to an F-150. Maybe you only get the keys. The club wrote with a photo of the F-150 4x4 Super Crew, thanks to J. Hodge Ford. The dealership, which is known as Maggie Ford until a change of ownership in August, said on its Facebook page that it provided the truck for display and advertising purposes only because it didn't have enough lead time to obtain insurance for the giveaway. Without our knowledge, the store wrote, Morganton Country Club promoted that the new truck would be available as a winning prize at the event despite our agreement that it would be for display purposes only. However, screenshots show that the dealership's Facebook account linked the Country Club's post promoting the F-150 giveaway, then removed the likes after the dispute arose, according to Cleggett's lawyer. And this is about doing what is right. Mr. Cleggett lived up to his end of the deal when he got the hole-in-one. Now, Morrilton Country Club and J. Hodge Ford of Morrilton want to... here's an interesting expression. They want to crawfish out of the deal.
Never heard of that one, but it just seems correct. This guy
in Arkansas
clearly won the truck.
Yeah.
And, it sounds like they're trying to back out of the deal.
Yeah, I think it is too. And all of these, and I guess I was too naive to think that dealerships actually give this stuff away. They actually buy an insurance policy from like Lloyd's of London with the idea that no one's going to get the hole-in-one, but if they do, the insurance policy pays for it to get it done. So, yeah. So
okay. So my first initial thought was, did this guy really get the hole-in-one? If it was during a tournament, I'm sure there's witnesses. It might be even on camera. I think he's got a good case.
I think he does too. I think he should be. And the only thing I can think of is, they said you'll get a hole-in-one and you get the keys to a Ford F-150. They never said you get the truck. You get the keys.
That's a good point.
But on the other hand,
not a great point. Good point.
Not a great point. Which is why, among other things, I'm not a lawyer. So. I'm
just saying, if the dealership was actually well, here's your keys. That would be that might be even more sleazy than try to pretend it never happened in the first place.
Didn't someone do that once with they're offering up, you win $10,000 or you win $100,000, and they were handing out like $100,000 candy bars?
Ooh, that's a rough one.
Yeah. Somebody was doing something weird like that, but yeah. Yeah, no, it's you gotta do the right thing, and whether they got it or not, whether they paid for it, didn't they just get $50,000 worth of free advertising? Being all over the news about this, to me it seems like not that big a deal. But
yeah, I wouldn't say that's necessarily good press, but they say any press is good press, right?
That's right. So. Well,
I don't know if my dealership with the whole "come get ripped off here" is a great slogan for the.
Well, there's that, I suppose.
Well, yes, you bought the truck, but we're gonna give you the keys.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you're thinking about something new for your wife for Christmas. Apparently, Rolls-Royce has got a new ultra luxury brand, and it's going to be an electric vehicle. Should you want an electric vehicle, and they claim that it's going to be fast like all Rolls-Royces. It's about $400,000. So should you want to get your wife something a little special for Christmas, this new electric Rolls-Royce might be it.
Could be the one. Yeah.
Could be the one. Yeah. So, and the other interesting thing is, and I think Elon Musk has been in the news too much with the whole Twitter thing. But Elon Musk, there's a headline in Automotive News that says, "Elon Musk, don't doubt me." And it says, experts concerned 50% growth target is too ambitious. Tesla Inc. posted record sales numbers for the third quarter, but analysts say are expressing doubts about the EV leader's ability to power through the economic slowdown, despite CEO Elon Musk's assurance that the company is certainly recession resilient. He's able to pull stuff out of nowhere and make money, so who knows how he does it, but
he knows a thing or two about making money.
Yeah. Well, I try to make friends. I don't make money. I make friends. How's that?
That's what's most important.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, that music means we need to go. You've been listening to the Car Doctor program. I want to thank John Zangari for co-hosting or hosting for me at the beginning of the program, and Jesse for getting us back on the air, which was important as well. Until next week, make sure you wear your seatbelt, drive safely, be good to your car, and if you see an emergency vehicle by the side of the road, slow down or pull over it, or it saves lives. Bye-bye now.